about a rebranding.
Yeah, right. I'm like, I wonder what they found when they bought this.
Oh, dude, I wonder what's still there. Shit.
Yeah, stuff that's fucking buried on the island somewhere. Yeah,
What, Nate? You
they have
looking
people
for?
from Nassau come over and like staff the island and stuff, as well as people from the ship.
Oh yeah. Well, dude, they always do that shit, man. And
All
that's
right.
cool too. Cause that's yeah, you got it.
Sorry to cut you off, guys. We've just been going for the last couple of minutes, but that's
Yeah,
all
who gives
good.
a shit?
Who gives a shit? So, g'day, g'day. Welcome to this episode of Not So Secret Dad's Business. We've got Judge Gonzo with me as usual, and we got our beautiful friend Shannon. How you doing, love? Good to have you with us.
I'm doing much better than last week, so yes.
Hey, you know
Yeah,
what? Yeah, we feel
it,
ya. It must have been in the water.
I was
Must
gonna
have
say this
been.
is a long time coming. This was supposed to be 3 weeks ago. It was supposed to start. Then Nate forgot on Friday. He just forgot. He had other shit to do, and he was like, "Oh fuck, I was meant to record today." Then you went down last week, and then this week I wasn't even sure I could do it, and then I got rained out of the fucking game, which that's completely different fucking story for another time. I was excited though, but so for anyone who's listened before, we've talked about Shannon. Shannon has like the ideal like father daughter relationship. Unfortunately, he's passed on. But she's going to talk about that. She's going to talk about just her experiences being raised by just such a fucking like. And I only know stories, but I've never even met the cat. But sometimes you hear stories about like these positive fathers that are positive all the way around, and then you look at the kid and you go, has to be. So why don't you start telling us a little bit about your old man and shit? Like just anything. Either start chronologically, and just go through. And me and Nate are going to bring out like our kindergarten mats and shit like that. We're just going to fucking listen to you because Nate and I come from fucked up dad situations.
All right, I'm
Um,
crisscross
but
applesauce.
but
With the
but
ears too. It's so...
I I know he looks like a child. Um, yeah, but Nate and I come from fucked up father shit. So I always wanted to get you on just so you could talk about that. So fucking let her rip, man. The mic is yours.
All right, awesome. So yeah, the little story that you had told about how my parents met, with my mom being the waitress, my dad being the truck driver, and they met at the like the travel station that my mom was like serving at. He basically just like left a little note saying like, "Hey, I like your butt." And I guess my dad, when he was younger, looked a lot like Patrick Swayze, like to the
Oh
point where
man.
my one friend freaked out. Like my one friend's mom freaked out when he came to pick me up one time. She's like, "Oh my God." And it's funny because my best friend's dad reminds us of Sam Elliott from the way that he dresses, the facial hair, the way he talks, everything.
Oh my
Um,
god.
yeah, which her dad's also a lot of fun. But yeah, so they were together for about 3 months, and then surprise, surprise, my mom got pregnant with me. And then their 1 year anniversary was like 3 days before my birth, which my dad had missed. My dad was a long haul truck driver, so like
Yeah.
coast to coast. It just so happened that he was out in Ohio getting a load of steel. So my dad calls my Nana. He's like, "Hey, I can't get a hold of Sherry. Like what's happening?" And Nana's like, "Oh, she's at the hospital getting ready to get the like, have birth to the baby." And my
Oh
dad hung up.
Jesus.
My dad hung up. And then he's like, "Oh shit," calls right back, figures out like what's going on. And he did not drive the speed limit, let's say, on the way back, hauling a bunch of steel on a flatbed. And
Yeah, I was gonna say that's like final destination shit, man. But he had
yeah,
places to be.
he called the hospital, the doctors. He's like, "Hey, I'm like in Ohio, I'm X amount of hours away." The doctor's like, "You're not gonna make it, buddy." So my mom gives birth to me around 3. My dad shows up around 8, and he just parked in the hospital parking lot with his truck and all the steel, just like in the middle of the parking lot, like fuck everyone else, and like ran into the building. They didn't know if I was going to be a boy or a girl, so like dad comes upstairs, mom's standing like in the doorway waiting for him, and like they have the tummy afterwards, and he's like, "Did you give birth to the baby?" She's like, "Yeah, a long time ago." He's like, "What'd you have?" And she's like, "Go look in the nursery," and then he saw me, and then it's just like he
dude, that's such a dope dad story. Like drove. That's like a fucking 12-hour ride, man. And to do like not doing the speed limit, hauling that shit is just
yeah.
like, and then just leaves the truck. He's like, "Listen, man, I ain't got a parking spot. This is the fucking best we're gonna do for now." That's so fucking awesome,
Yeah,
man.
and I
Yeah,
love that as well because most guys as well will go, all right, well, I'll go see the baby once I've got this load done
Yeah,
or
right. Yeah.
whatever.
He
Not
just
not
took
to
it with him.
Yeah.
Yep, he just took it with him.
So now wait a minute. Where was it supposed to go?
I forget where he was supposed to deliver it.
But not back to the East Coast, right?
I think it was a local delivery. I think he was like he had picked it up on the West Coast and was bringing it
Okay.
back to the East Coast. I think is what it
okay.
was.
Because I was going to say, imagine he's like, all right, I'm out. I got to go to California. I'm going to be a little late.
Yeah, like he was on the CB radio the entire time, like telling other truckers to move the fuck out of his way. Like,
Yeah.
like
Oh
going
my
down
God,
the fast lane.
Dude, that's
Yeah,
like a
that's
movie.
golden.
Like, all right. So far, the first two things are very movie-esque. Like that, like the trucker meets the waitress thing with the fucking note. That's adorable. And then he's like, on like the ride all the way back, like, listen, man, if you see me coming, this is me, this is my call sign. Everyone move the fuck out of the way. The truck drivers make like a wall on the right-hand side. They're like, fucking go. No cops, no nothing. He just fucking zoomed all the way down.
I'm pretty sure if there was even a cop, he probably would have just ignored them and kept going. Like, which
There's a trail of cops following him all the way to the hospital.
also just that's a story for a little bit later.
Oh, no shit, really?
Stories.
Nice.
I'll tell it now since it's relevant. So here in the U.S., Nate, I'm not sure if you know, but we have weigh stations where truck drivers have to go through and be weighed.
Yep.
One time, I don't even know where they were, but my dad was driving. His partner was like sleeping in the bed in the back, and dad's like, "Oh, I know I'm like overweight. I'm just gonna ignore this." So he ends up getting chased down by police officers because he didn't go through the weigh station, and like he went really fast, like a little bit of a chase ensued, and then eventually like pulled over, and his partner like woke up like, Gary, what the fuck did you do?
Dude, I never see those open. Every time I drive by, weigh stations are always, every fucking time I've driven past one. Are they only
I've never seen one open.
Okay, good. All right, I thought it was just me. They're never fucking open.
They're never open.
Because my dad used to drive. I mean, I don't think he went all over the place. He was out for a long period, but he was probably fucking cheating, whatever. When you're only allowed to drive for so many like miles before you have to go to sleep, right? Like they mandate you, like, no, that's it. Like you're done. As soon as you clock in, you got to like wait, fall asleep, and then go. Shit.
Now they do.
Oh no! Look at the look on her face. Now that, so I guess during that time now it was just like get there as soon as you can.
Yeah, like I believe that story is from back in like the early 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was a whole other ball game in the 1980s.
Yeah, I don't even
and they would switch off
on the trucks back then either. It was just
like
by
they owned they owned their own truck, him and his buddy, and that's what they used to do the long haul. So yeah, they used to do that kind of like dedicated, coast to coast kind of stuff.
Oh, so he didn't. So it was basically his company. He's like, all right, I'll pick this shit up and I'll fucking go and stuff.
They're like contractors, yeah.
Oh, that's pretty dope. So now, Young Life, was he still like coast to coast in and shit like that? Did he spend some more time being local? Like, so start to take us through like the early years and shit. Like, was he around, or was this kind of like I'm a bump in and out? Like, what was that like?
So when I was a baby, like my dad he tried to be there as much as possible with his job. He was also like very hands-on, very much like would always like play with me, and like the amount of tea parties I put this man through. But then as I got like a little bit older, like in like the elementary middle school, he was working for another company that was like home every night. He used to take days off if we had class trips. They would chaperone like him and my mom. Wow. Any kind of like baseball game I had, any kind of choir thing I would do, he would always just take the day off and come out. So I don't think he missed anything that I ever did, like pictures and video and just everything. My grandmother was the same.
I know. I was, dude, fuck, me and Nate are sitting here like, because like my dad was at the bar for most of the shit. Like I don't remember, like he would show up. No, I don't remember. I remember if we had some, because he had visitation on Saturday. So if we had to go to a baseball game, like he would go. I'm not saying he wouldn't cheer and shit like that, but like he didn't show up for like pictures. Like he didn't show up for a lot of that stuff. Nah, but like he showed up for like chaperoning and fucking everything. Dude, that's cool.
That's cool. Fuck. Like I used to do recitals and stuff because I played clarinet and trumpet and all that sort of thing. Never saw my old man. I played one season of like field hockey as a kid. He didn't turn up for a single game or anything like that. So hearing stuff like this is really, really
Yeah.
cool. But I
Yeah,
mean,
because
it's
I don't think this is the norm. Like, it doesn't seem like this seems like, but so which one's more the norm, right? Is it dads aren't show like because I go to everything that I can for Hunter. Like if he's got
Yeah.
something, but like I'm not signed up to be like a class parent. Obviously, I'm so fucking far away. But like if he's got something going on, like in school or after school, like I'm going. Like I want to go. But what's the norm these days? Like I can't even believe I'm asking that question.
yeah, I know
I don't
because
know.
I'm the same as you, Judge. Like I'm with Eli's Little Athletics. Like I'm not just going there every week to watch him. I'm involved. I'm on the
Yeah, yeah,
committee. I'm doing this stuff with him, and so it
yeah.
just seems so bizarre to me that like our old man didn't do shit like that. So
Yeah.
And yeah, like I like all throughout high school and stuff, like I'd always have my friends come over, they got to meet my mom and dad, and they're like, man, I really wish my parents were like this. Like,
That's what I
just
figured. Okay, yeah.
involved and like, yeah, it's like for school, for example, my dad was like a salesman. We always said that he could sell a snowball in the middle of a blizzard. Like craziness. His favorite thing was when I would do oh like candy sales and stuff for fundraisers.
mhm.
So he would like get that sheet and he would just go to town. Um, like they were inputting things one time. My mom was helping, and my dad kept calling her, being like, "Hey, I have another like however many candy bars from this person." Like he would get everyone at work. We like he only would let me go with him or like around town, but
Yeah.
like any person he could possibly talk to that he would see on a regular basis would be like, "You're buying from us." Like,
Oh my God,
um,
dude, that's
so
fucking awesome, man.
yeah, one year the everything went to like new playground equipment, and I think we raised like $1,200. I think my dad raised.
In
Wow,
candy?
I
That's a
think that
lot
was a
of
candy
fucking candy.
sale.
that's a lot of
Yeah,
God
chocolate.
damn,
Yeah.
that's a lot of
yeah.
candy.
Like I won like out of my years like kindergarten through sixth grade, I won 3 limo rides from
Holy
my dad from
Actually,
doing
shit.
this.
yeah, tell us about that because Katie's in the chat and she's just brought up the limousine ride.
Oh yeah, Katie. Hi, babe. Katie is my best friend. She's been around since we were 5 years old. We've been like just inseparable, attached at the hip all the time, forever. She's great. And so yeah,
Limo ride. Wait, like for winning? Yeah, now I want to
yeah, for
wait, like
winning.
cruising up to school, be like, pardon me, getting out in a fucking limo
Yeah.
and shit. What was that like? Are you serious? That was
Um,
it?
that was it. Like,
That's so
like my
fucking
parents came
awesome.
along. We had someone from the school there, and then I got to choose whatever people I wanted to come with me. So of course Katie was one of them. We have really cute pictures of us like teeny tiny in kindergarten. But we would go to like I think kindergarten we went to like Boston Market when we had it there, like a food thing. We got to be out of school for like the rest of the day, just like cruising around. The second time was I think in third grade. We went to Burger King.
Oh, so
They had
it
the
wasn't just to like one place. They would hook you up for like the afternoon. You just roll up to
yeah.
a limo, like, oh my God, dude! Imagine how pimped you must feel in
How
like
good would it
second,
be
third
though
grade.
going through the drive-through at Hungry Jack's in a limo? I'm sorry, Burger King. Burger King in a fucking limo.
Well, we got to sit inside, and my dad would like hang out with like the driver sometimes. Like he would go and like of course
Oh,
chat
that's
with
great.
them. And I remember it was in kindergarten. They had a TV in the back of the limo, and we watched Rudolph, like the old
Oh, the
claymation one.
claymation,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
That was
yeah.
around Christmas time. The
And as a
second
kid,
one,
like if you're in limos now, they're big. Like as an adult, imagine, dude, that shit must have seemed like a playground to you guys, man. That
oh, it
shit
was
must have been
so cool.
huge.
Yeah, in third grade, me and a friend nearly got caught in the sunroof in the back because we both went out of it at the same time. It was funny. But yeah, like we would go to like stop at like um at one place and then go for like ice cream and just like
Dude,
bunch
I
of
would
stuff.
go
So
everywhere. I would plan out the whole day. I'd be driving by people that like I haven't seen them played me out before, and I'd be like, "Bah, bah." I'd be like, "What's up, bitch?" And I would just fucking drive. I would use that thing to go
Dude, I'd be
everywhere.
pulling a Richie Rich and just pulling up to the sand lot and going, hey, who wants to play?
Fuck yeah, dude. That's all. Now wait, so 3 years you got to get that because you were like
yep,
the fucking top of the heap.
kindergarten, third grade, and sixth grade.
Yo, man, imagine like people that did that, which like I don't know how this is possible. Like people didn't like Shannon, like that bitch is in a fucking limo again. Like they were doing like the side
Oh,
eye and shit.
Katie and I were the most picked on kids in our like grade and like in the school. Like me and Katie literally just had each other and that was it.
Now, wait, is that just because of like fandom and stuff like that? Because I know people like because you were coming out of the generation where people just fucking mean for no reason. Like I knew because I was at like the beginning of it and shit. And I know that you're not that much fucking younger. Like I know you're younger, but you're not that much younger. Like were they still like, oh, because it's fucking anime or this or that or whatever? Like was it centered around that? And to bring like the parental part in it, like when you first had to deal with that shit, like what was the info that like Pop gave you and shit, right? So A, what was it because? And B, how did you deal with it? Or because they taught you how to deal with it, you're like, I don't give a fuck, man, like because I got a good head on my shoulders. Like, what was that like?
So of course, being a small child, it was just like, oh, well, why are people being mean to me when I'm not being mean to them? So
Right.
basically, I like grew up on the poverty line, so we didn't always have a lot of money for things.
Right.
And I'm, a neurodivergent individual. So
Mhm.
I was always labeled as annoying in
Right.
school. Same with Katie. Um, so we were out of the ordinary. And then when we would go on school trips or anything, I think the kids saw that my parents were involved in my life. And I think it might have been a bit
Oh,
of jealousy as
yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so as soon as I could get out of that fucking school, I did. I went to a vocational school after eighth grade, which was the best decision I ever made. Um, Sadly, Katie had to endure with the shitty people in our home school up until graduation.
Oh
Um,
shit.
but yeah, like mom and dad always were just like, basically just take it with a grain of salt, you know, consider the source, like kill him
Yeah.
with kindness was basically all they could really do. Um, like, the anti-bully stuff wasn't like in the schools yet. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. No.
So
No. Yeah.
how did that work out for you though, Shannon? Because I was always told the same thing. Like, remember that they're probably having a hard time. Just try and ignore them. If you have to, run away. But it never really, for me anyway, never really helped anything. It just exacerbated things. So how did it
yeah,
work out for you?
pretty much the same kind of. Um, the Eventually eventually kids get tired and like
Mm,
move their
And
focus.
just stop. Yep.
Um,
Yep.
yeah. So they would, I wasn't like making friends and I didn't want to be friends with those people anyway. But yeah, like my parents were always very supportive with, the whole bullying thing. And
Yeah.
then, yeah, as soon as I saw that opportunity, my parents were just like, go to Votech.
yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
go
How
and do
how
that.
how fucking terrible is it that uh, on both sides, right? Like if you got kids who are envious because their parents aren't as involved in like to turn that neglect into hatred for somebody else, like that's fucking nuts to me. Like,
Yeah.
oh, her parents are involved, well, my parents aren't, so fuck her. Like that would, I mean, I guess, right? Like if you're a kid, of course it would come out like that and shit, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I like I'm blaming her because my parents aren't around and shit. And I guess that's kind of tough being a parent because you don't see a lot of parents around. Like I go to hunter stuff all the time. I see a lot of moms. See a lot of
Mm,
moms. Don't see a
yeah.
lot of dads and shit. And it's just like, and we're like front row with the Apollo when Hunter does something, man. Because it's me, it's Jenny, it's Sarah, it's her grandmother, my mom, and it's just like every time Hunter does something, it's like fucking freaking out.
Oh,
And
that's so good.
and 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 in the audience, unless it's like after hours, not a lot of dads, a lot of moms, a lot of grandmothers, and a lot of like mom's friends. But when we're there, we kind of get the same thing that you got, but by parents. Because
Mm,
I think the jealousy thing there is, oh, their whole family's here and I'm just here, so fuck them. So I think it evolves into parents who want to be involved in their kids' life, but when both parents aren't involved, they now don't like the parents that can all get together for something that is going on for the kid. And
mm.
like the hatred then goes in that direction. I don't get that, man. Like I would be like, it's fucking cool, man. But maybe
Yeah.
it's because I don't know. I don't know. It's a personality. I mean, it has to be a personality thing because I
Yeah,
would
well,
Yeah.
never be like, fuck you. Both your parents love you. Like
yeah.
I go over those houses that my friends had, and I'd be like, oh shit, this is what the look. My mom did a great job, but going into a family where like, oh, mom and dad are home, like together in the same room, and they aren't yelling, like that was fucking
Oh,
foreign to me.
fuck it. It always weirded me out as well because, like, you know, the dad would be, hey, champ, how you doing? In fact, I had a moment like that yesterday. Eli had a play date, and I was that dad that came out, hey, man, I didn't know you were here. You've been so
Yeah.
quiet. How you doing, dude? And so
Yeah.
as a kid, for me, that was bizarre. I remember actually, I think it was one of my mate's 18th birthday parties. You know, I think it was his 18th or his 21st, one of the two, and we're all on the booze and getting hammered. We're having, you know, meat on the spit and whatnot. And his girlfriend's dad was there, like doing everything, just hanging out with us,
Yeah.
this sort of thing. And I got so weirded out. I had like a bottle of scotch and then ended up curled up in the fetal position on the lawn,
Oh,
crying.
no shit.
Like, why
Yeah.
can't my dad be like
Yeah.
you?
Yeah.
You're amazing.
I'm telling you, man. Yeah. Yeah. Like,
So yeah,
I would
having
get
dad
emotional
around
to
was
me, but I would,
weird.
yeah, I wouldn't hate somebody else. I would get
Nah.
emotional that it wasn't me. So I would end up like you, where I'm sitting there like, yo, yeah, dude, I would totally do the same
And it
thing.
wasn't even like I was pissy at them, the fact that he was kicking around and having fun. It was just I felt like I was missing out on something in my life.
Yeah. Um,
That was
so
one good
now,
thing with my dad is like he like every friend that I ever had became his child. Same thing with my mom. That like my friends would call them mom and dad or daddy-o and mom, like
yeah, yeah.
depending which one. I actually I got a few stories from people from my friends that I wanted to share with you guys.
Oh,
Oh, fucking
absolutely.
do it. Do it. Hold on. Wait, let me cross my legs again.
Let me
All right, ready,
stretch out my shorts for this shit.
go.
So for my best friend Katie, I'll do hers first since she's in chat. Um, so the thing that sticks out with me about your dad is him always calling me Thomas, which is her maiden name, in a gruff, playful voice, fighting with me about Steelers and Eagles, even though I had no clue about football and was being equally belligerent about a team, and how he always treated me like his own daughter. I don't have stories, I have feelings, just warm and kind, playful. That's what comes to mind when I think of dad. Um, I
Dude,
washed
what
my
the
car
fuck?
yes.
I'm like,
I
Katie,
know.
Jesus
I
Christ,
know.
man.
I'm swallowing golf
Oh,
I'm like,
balls.
already? Oh my God. That was like, holy shit. That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
um,
Like to have something like that a friend is like it hit me too. That's fucking dope. I'm sorry, continue. I just had oh my God, dude.
yo, you're good.
This is gonna be a wet one.
So
This is gonna be a wet one.
this one comes from Angel, who you know, Judge.
Mhm.
He was always just so welcoming. He'd always greet me with, "Hey, daughter," or "How's my daughter doing?" He treated me like one of his own, and he was truly a special person. Let's see down here, my friend Eric, who has known me forever. Um, so I don't have a lot of time, but I can put together a whole story. But I always loved your dad. I'll never forget his humor or how down he was to just go with the flow and do like anime conventions and other conventions and
Yeah.
that kind of thing. He was just like a really cool dude. And you might want to get your tissues ready for this one. This is for my friend
Ah,
Zoe.
for fuck's sake. Okay.
Um, all week I thought about a good story to tell about your wonderful father, but there was no single moment that stuck out as a star. I wanted to share that I think it's because there was not a single moment with him that was not memorable. I always felt so safe and absolutely myself in your home, and it was something I needed more than most people realized. Both of your parents were so good to all of us, but your dad was such a special person. He loved being a parent and everything that came with it, from the loud, rowdy sleepovers, which we had a lot, to him meeting Lily, her daughter, for the first time. I always felt his happiness just to be part of your life. He always included us just like we were family. I can still hear him saying, "How you doing, Zoe?" in exactly his voice as he hugged me when I walked through the door. Sometimes unannounced, but never unwelcome. One year at Explosions Day, which is our 4th of July party,
Yeah.
we sat together and picked the hair off the ears of corn while he smoked. I have no idea what he talked about, but we laughed the whole damn time. He loved you, and by the extension, all of us. I also can still see his constant smile. Your dad was one of a kind, and I appreciate him so much.
Jesus, man. Like, dude,
Oh,
that's like the legacy that you always talk about, right?
yeah.
Like, and that's when Howie brought up that book, right, where it talks about survival of the kindest, not
Mhm.
survival of the fittest. People who are always rough and tumble and shit, you're not going to remember them. Like, you're not. Like, they might make a splash now for clout, but what people are really going to remember are the people who were the kindest to them, that understood them, that had a laugh or had a smile, that like literally was like, I need that today, right? Like, I need whatever that person has, whatever that energy is. I need that. And it just seems like you were surrounded by people who all fed off your old man with that shit. Like, that's crazy, man. To have that many
Yeah.
people
Like that was
even
just very
remember,
accepting.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Like, oh, you guys are like who you are, and this is, I'm gonna accept you for exactly how you are, no matter what. Like,
yeah.
especially with me,
Now,
because I was very nerdy, as you know.
That's so
yeah.
fucking beautiful.
Well, so when you went to Night Realms, he was probably just like, "Fuck it, this is gonna be awesome. Tell me all about it, and shit."
Pretty much, like he didn't understand it at first. And I took him to a game, like him and my mom, and my dad was just like, "Oh man, I'm not gonna get any sleep here." So he only did the one Night Realms game, and then we went to
Right.
another game called Doomsday, and they were the like mom and dad would come once a year for my birthday, and we would cook. We would do like the whole feast thing,
Right.
and people would just like go through the kitchen just to bullshit with my parents. Like my dad was like the breakfast master, and then my mom would make dinner, and like he would be on the back porch like smoking, and everyone would just like come up and start chatting with him. Like,
Yeah, man, it's the energy, dude. That's fucking that's like, and I said it before, and I'm not even sure you were listening at that point because it was before. I said, like, you don't understand, like, Shannon does not have like an unlikable aspect of her at all. Like, she doesn't. She's always been like the kindest, but also can tell a good fucking dark joke. You know what I'm saying? But when she does it, no one ever gets offended because everyone around her knows she's got the best interest for everybody at heart, which you can see she got from her family, right? I just want to make everyone feel welcome. I'm going to be there. I'm going to fucking smile and stuff like that. I said it beforehand. There's been like 3 genuine people that I've met that have stayed that way for the length of time that I've known them. And Shannon's one of them. She's in that top 3. And it's just like, and then you look at her history and go, fucking, of course she is, man. Like, that's fucking incredible. And you can only get that from, like, very few people don't get it from parenting. Like, they might, like, they find it even though their parents are shitty, right? But, like, you are a direct result of how amazing your family was. And they've made other people's lives amazing. That's fucking, dude, that's cool as shit.
Yeah, like my dad had an okay relationship with his father. Eventually my grandfather had left my grandmother, and I got a really cool stepdad, like a step grandfather. And my his mom was the best woman. She was also just very accepting, very loving, just like, here you go, eat all the food. Like, here's like, come sit down, like join our family, basically. It was her attitude. So my dad definitely got that from her. Yeah, he like he was just so excited, like, because no one's perfect. Everyone has like their demons and stuff in the past.
Yeah.
My dad is not, disincluded from that. But he learned from his mistakes. And I had a really like fun and awesome childhood. Besides the bullying, but with my parents, fan-fucking-tastic. Like we always had a blast. Every year we would go to the shore. Like that would be our, family vacation.
Yeah.
And just like the beach is my happy place because of that. Like,
yeah.
And it was always just like so much fun. Dad and I would always play. We had a pool. So like we would be out in the pool together. We would play Gilligan's Island where I would be like on a raft and my dad would sing the beginning song of the weather started getting rough. And eventually when it came to like the crescendo, he would dump me off.
Nice.
But like my cousin would come down, my friends would come over, and we would just be all hanging out in the pool. One time he worked for Wise Potato Chips, and he used to get like the extra boxes that would be on the truck. And eventually the bedroom that was my mom and dad's became like a warehouse full of just boxes of like,
oh my God.
And my mom would be so
awesome.
angry at him, like, Gary, why do you keep bringing these home? So when my friends would come over, he would bring out a raft and just put bags of potato chips on a raft in the pool.
Oh my God, fucking dope.
Oh man, I can imagine the maintenance on the filtration system already. Mashed potatoes all through the filter.
Thankfully we were older and kept the crumbs out of the pool for the most part. But yeah, like he was just like just a super fun, welcoming, like crazy individual. Like my dad, huge music guy, like all the oldies. Like for example, we were over at the shore one time and we were at this one place called Pinky's, which was a place my dad absolutely fucking loved, and I do too. They have amazing clam chowder. And and they had oldies going on. So we were sitting there eating. My dad's like, "Oh, it's this song by this artist." Like, "Oh, I know this artist. It's this artist." And he'd wait a little bit, like, "Oh, it's this song." Like the entire time, he knew like every artist, every song, craziness. Actually, part of my tattoo for him, which is
Oh shit,
kind of
is that
hard
a
to see.
record?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's a
can't
record.
because of the. It's fucking
Let me
awesome.
see if I can get it to.
Oh, there you go.
Oh yeah, I love that. That's so cool.
So yeah, that is an Eagles record. The Eagles were his favorite, though he loved everyone. I
Yeah.
managed to get him tickets to Music Fest in Bethlehem to see Chicago a few years before he passed. Um, so yeah, it was a lot of fun. He was like he'd always have music going, or he'd be walking around singing like to himself, like no matter like all the time, forever.
So now
And
we always talk about like how because obviously both of our kids are young, right? We always talk about, oh, like Nate, like how would you handle, like Eli's first breakup and shit? Like what was your so in a situation where you came home heartbroken about something, can do you remember like the nuggets of wisdom and stuff that you got, or like how he dealt with it? Did he leave you kind of stew on it for a little bit? Did he come right in? Like what was that like?
so before a whole breakup thing. So when I had my first boyfriend, who is Cy,
Yeah.
when he would come over, I remember the first time he ever spent the night, my dad and my brother were like hovering, like, a boy in my daughter's room, and he's
Yeah.
spending the night. Meh. So they would make sure to come and check on us. And after that, after the first time, my dad, like everyone else, just like enveloped him and was just
Yeah.
like, because I would go out and eat like hot wings with them and watch like the football game, and my dad just fucking
Oh
loved the
man,
shit
that's
out of that.
great. Yeah.
But after Cy and I broke up, I think my dad did the whole like let her mom take care of that,
Right.
because like he never liked to see me sick, he never liked to see me hurt or anything
Oh,
like
okay.
that.
Mm.
Right.
So I'm pretty sure, he was probably also very upset and just didn't know the right things to say. So I'm pretty sure that was like kind of left up to my mom, though even years later, my dad would be like, "Hey Shan, you talked to Cy lately? How's he doing?" Like all the time. Like
Because
my
he genuinely cared. Yeah, because
yeah,
there was yeah, that's fucking great. Yeah, so it's not a turn into, oh, you guys broke up, oh fuck him, fuck everything about him and shit like that. Like the fact that he
yeah,
still asks again just shows that heart that like a
yeah.
real person has, and it's not just being said or like it wasn't faked when he used to watch TV with him and shit like that. Like he actually really appreciated that time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and he
yeah,
knew that like Cy and I broke up on like okay terms
Yeah,
eventually. We eventually patched things.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, like he never had like, the only person that he didn't care for after we broke up was my most previous ex. Never asked about him ever. Um,
right.
Pretty sure he would have very choice words for said individual.
Yeah.
But yeah, when it came to heartbreak, yeah, he left the one with side of my mom, and then let's just say he was very glad when me and my like most recent ex broke up.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
when my dad didn't like someone, it said like a
Dude,
lot.
I was just gonna say, like, listen, man, if I brought someone home, like if I had your old man and I brought someone home and knowing how he was nice to everybody, if he was like, I got a bad feeling, I'm like, babe, you gotta go. Like, cause
Yeah,
this motherfucker's never wrong. Like, like we can't like no, see this ain't gonna work. Oh, so he knew like he get that inkling like from the beginning and was just kind of like, hey, like I don't feel right about this one, or did it kind of happen over time?
I think it was from the beginning.
No shit.
But I was with the person, so they're like, okay, well, we'll give him a shot, basically.
Yeah.
Both my mom and dad did not care for him. Um, so my another quick aside, so my best friend Kenny as well, um, like became like my dad's like bestie. So we like met in sixth grade. We didn't like each other, and around eighth grade we became friends. He started spending all of his time up at my house because he also didn't have a great relationship with his dad. Like he has a now 5-year-old that his dad has never met. Like one of those kind of
Wow.
things. Yeah, just nothing to do with my friend's life at all. It's really sad. Um, which I think he prefers it that way. Um, but he became, my dad's bestie and his son. So every time that he would come up, he'd be like, the gruff voice, like I said with Katie, was
Yeah.
just like, Kenny. And then he would go over and like hug him and give him a big old kiss on the cheek. And like, he was always welcome. Like, I'm pretty sure if Kenny was like, can I move up here? My dad and mom probably like, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Like, because yeah, like still to this day, like, people are always like, oh, well, boys and girls can't be friends. No, Kenny and I are like
Yeah.
brother and sister, like to the max. Just
Yeah.
yeah, they had
Well,
like
you're a different person altogether. Like we've already established that, like you are like, I know a lot of people say, well, I'm not like other people. Yeah, but when you say it, it's actually true and shit. Like you can have platonic relationships with people because you're genuine. Like a lot of times when people say that, you can look at it and be like, I know you're fucking full of shit. Like I know your history and stuff like that. You were just genuinely nice to everybody. And the best part about you is that because it was genuine, no one ever took it as flirting. Right. Like the first time I met you, were so fucking bubbly, dude. Or at least like I did. Like I always took it as you were just really nice. I was like, she's just really nice. But did
thank
you
you.
wait, did you run into a problem where you were really nice and someone was like, so about me, and you get the fuck out of here, really?
So many dudes at KR. So many dudes at KR.
Well, yeah,
Judge.
but that place is a cesspool of fucking people trying to fucking mac it with each other. Yeah, but like, no, wait. Them aside, that's a different, like, look, I love the people that go, but every generation, say there's 100 players, 20 of them are really cool outside to have normal lives and shit like that. The other 80% lives for that weekend because their life was so fucking bad or whatever it is, or there's so many complications that they use that moment to live their entire month in what. So I got to get a girlfriend. I got to do this. I got to be the hero. I got to like all that. We would just go and be like, I just want to have fun, man. And so, yeah, it doesn't shock me that your kindness was being taken for flirting. It does not fucking shock me at all. So now, dude, I don't even want to fucking bring it up. I don't even know how I can do it without fucking crying. So what happened when you found out about his diagnosis? But like, look, if you don't want, like, I'm not springing on you. If you don't want to talk about it, we ain't got to talk about it. But I know that. All right.
So I just want to preface it. Please, for the love of God, go and get preventative screenings.
We were just talking about that.
We've talked about
holy shit.
Yeah.
Preventative screenings will save you. Yeah. Like you can go to the Prevent Cancer Foundation and they have like what you should get for what age. Like when do you go for your colonoscopy? When do you go for like your prostate? Like at what age, if you were a smoker, should you go get checked for like lung cancer? Please, for the love of God, do that. There's places like the Prevent Cancer Foundation where they can help you if you have shit insurance or whatever. Like, please, for the love of God, just do it. Yeah. My dad was a very heavy smoker. And then throughout the 80s, some other stuff. Because it was the 80s.
It was the 80s, different time.
Different time. So it was the end of 2018. And dad had we thought he had like the stomach flu because he would like have been vomiting for like 4 days and just wasn't feeling good. We get him down to the hospital, which my dad going to the hospital was because
that's any dude. Yeah.
Where he was just not fighting me about going to the hospital. Like, dad is sick. Like something's going on. They do the blood work. They find out his calcium is sky high. My dad didn't have insurance at this point. So they did like an x-ray and they're like, oh, nothing came back on anything. So like, we're just, deal with your calcium. It's like, sometimes this means that it's bone cancer, but like, we can't determine that. So he was admitted for like a week. They got his calcium down. He came home. He was good for like a week. We got him signed up for medical insurance. Beginning of 2019, we took him back down. I had just moved here with Brendan, with my now husband. But I made it back for that. And after I found out. So mom and my brother Gary took him down, which it's a yours, mine, and our situation in my family. So my mom, Sherry, has her son Jared from her first marriage. My dad had his son Gary from a previous relationship, and then they had me. So Gary and mom had taken him down. And finally, with the insurance, they did I'm going to take these off. They finally did like a CAT scan. And that's where they found the cancer in his lung. And they found that it had metastasized to his liver. and also to his bones. Eventually, throughout the whole thing, it would eventually go to his spinal cord and to his brain. But I remember I was in the kitchen and my mom called me and she was broken up and told me like, your dad has cancer. And I just remember like falling to the fucking floor and just bawling. So from there, it came to what are the options? Like, what's the treatments? And they were talking about chemotherapy. We're like, okay, we'll get that set up. And like we told my dad from the beginning, it's like, Daddy, we're a team. Like, we're gonna get through this together as a team because some people, when they hear that they have cancer, they just give up. And we were not letting that happen with my dad. Without the chemotherapy, he would have been gone within 3 to 4 months. With the chemo, we got him for an extra year. Like, we got him for like Christmas, everything, which was fantastic. Yeah, it was a lot of ups and downs, a lot of talking with doctors, a lot of him going back and forth and getting treatments. Which even then he like became like friends with the people who were doing like the nurses at like the place where they were doing the chemo. Because my dad made friends with literally everyone.
Yeah.
Like even people he didn't like know their names. He would just talk to them forever. Which I have a story about that. Yeah, so continuing the chemotherapy, he finished that round, went to immunotherapy. The immunotherapy did not really do what it was supposed to do. They put him on another chemo. Then towards the end of that, things in his body had shrunk like immensely. Like the doctors were really like pleased with how it was looking. But that's the scary thing about cancer is it looked really great in November, and by December he had lost mobility like in his legs. Like he was paralyzed because the cancer like did whatever it did to his spinal cord.
Yeah.
And it just became super aggressive because lung cancer is very aggressive, and it is unless you're actually going and looking for it, you don't know you have it until it affects other parts of your body.
Right.
If it wasn't in his bones, most likely it would like the chemo probably would have helped a lot more. But he was a fucking trooper through the entire thing. Like he would have like 2 days after the administration where he would just be like, tired. But he never got sick off of it. He was still his old cheerful self, even when he was having like some mobility issues. He would take like he had a walker. He would take the walker and like go out to like the shed to get the lawnmower and then mow the lawn. Like there was one time because my dad could not be stopped. So it was his right leg where he was losing feeling. One time, I'm living here. Mom was at work. Mom came home and she's like, "Where the fuck is Gary? Wasn't he up on a fucking ladder cleaning the gutters?"
Oh my God. That's fucking incredible, dude.
And
like,
my mom calls me.
That dude.
Yeah. My mom called me. She's like, "Shannon, you'll never believe what your dad's doing." I'm like, "What's he doing?" And she's like, "He's up on a fucking ladder cleaning out the goddamn gutters." And she put me on speaker. I'm like, "Dad, what the fuck do you think you're doing?" He goes, "I need it done." Oh my God.
Well, see, that just answers my question, because I was going to ask you, Shannon. Obviously, you couldn't live inside his head, but I was just curious what his kind of mindset was with all of that, because if I was in his shoes, I would not be telling my wife, I wouldn't be telling my son, I'd be keeping that to myself, because I'd feel like I'd let my family down, because of my life choices and that sort of thing. But obviously, if he's up on a ladder cleaning gutters, he's just going, well, it is what it is, and I'll make the most of my time while I've got it.
See,
that's exactly how he was.
I think I'm a coward in that situation. Like I'd be miserable. I'd be pissed off at everybody. Like I would take it out on everybody. Like the strength that it took to be like, all right, well, I'm still here. Gutters need to get clean. Fucking clean the gutters, man. Like he didn't not live at all. Like it seemed like straight up to the end, he was just like, no, I'm gonna keep like I'm gonna cherish the time that I have, and I'm not gonna waste any of that fucking time. No, people can't even do that when they're having a fucking bad day. You know what I'm saying? Like let's discuss that shit. Motherfuckers be like, oh, my day at work sucked. Now I'm gonna sit around all day, do nothing. He finds out he has cancer, and he's like, I'm gonna mow the fucking lawn, dude. I'm gonna spend some quality time with my family. I'm fucking still here. What difference does it make? Like, that's fucking so G'd up. Like, that is so fucking dope, dude.
Like, honestly, so I think my dad might have expected this to happen because my grandfather passed away of lung cancer. So I think he might have been like, this might be my future. But my dad was always very much like a, live in the moment kind of person. Like, oh, I'm here now, so I'm gonna do it. Like, he enjoyed sitting in his chair watching like football and like stuff about World War II, but he still enjoyed like being outside, doing like picking up around the yard. Like, for a little while, I'm like, when he was unsteady on his feet, he was like, you know, really hesitant because he didn't want to fall. But then when he was just like, I'm good with this walker or I'm good with this cane, he was out doing shit. Like,
wow, fuck,
like,
man.
he drove
I'm
2
sorry,
hours.
I've been quiet so much this episode because I'm just in absolute
I
fucking
know.
awe.
I'm like, what can you say? I'm a fucking awe, dude. Like, guys, this is not someone making this shit up. This is why I needed to have Shannon on, because this is the kind of person that the reason why his fucking daughter and his other kids and all the people that he's touched in one way or another, the reason why they're so dope and have all these memories is because he was a fucking good person. Like, that's what it's all about, man. It's about like leaving a legacy of beauty behind you, regardless of what happened before. And people are always going to remember that shit. Like, they're always going to remember cool fucking moments, and they're not going to lament that the person's not here. They're going to be like, they did all that shit while they were here. It's fucking amazing, man. God damn.
Yeah, well,
He did.
sorry, go on,
Okay.
Shannon.
No, go ahead, Nate.
I was just gonna say, I'm sitting here like with mixed emotions, really. Some of it's awe, some of it's jealousy, but then some of it's like that's the kind of legacy that I want to have too,
Oh
so it's
God,
like
yeah, me too.
inspiration as well.
Which you guys are definitely doing. Like, you are there for your children, and that is fantastic. Like I want to give you guys a round of applause, like being like
No, you ain't
awesome
allowed to do
dads.
that. Listen, man, we're trying. Look, fuck, me and Nate were like,
No.
Like you guys can, like, you guys are trying and you guys are doing well. Like, you're not going to do things 100%. No one ever does. But like, just being there for your children, like, says a fuck ton, guys. Like, like how you guys were saying about your dads, and like me with my friends in high school being like, I wish my parents were like this. Like, you guys are like, I know what I wanted as a kid and I'm going to do that for my children.
Yeah.
And that is fucking awesome. Like,
yeah, man, like, you always want to do more than what was done for you. Or in your case, it's like, I want to be just as dope as my dad. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
how can you do more than someone that lived that kind of life, that lived life to the fullest, that didn't make, like, like I would make people miserable before I went. Like, he was just like, it's all right, man. Like, that's the part that's fucking me up.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the quote I heard not long ago. It's like, the person you are today is the person you needed when you were a child.
Yeah.
And so that's, I guess, the whole reason why I do what I do with Eli, is because I didn't have that, and I try to give him what I missed out on. But
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know. I struggle sometimes, man. I know you do too.
You're parents. You're
yeah.
like parents, and you're human, and you're not gonna be 100% all the time,
And the other thing is that you had said before that there was money issues, right? And you had said that before and shit, and like, that never took away from. I mean, sure, it did once or twice, but like, you guys were just fucking happy.
We
Like,
were.
that's people can't even be like, oh, I can't go out to fucking eat today. Like, they're always complaining about shit. And like, you had already said you had money issues, and you guys were like, so fucking what, man? We're together. Like, that's all that matters.
Like, my dad would always say, we're not rich in money, we're rich in love.
Yeah, I'd fucking say so. I think that you guys created that shit because, like, everyone lives it. Like, everyone that you've said about your family and your friend, like, you all live by that fucking motto. And like, who better to have given that to you than someone like your fucking old man, dude? That's the kind of shit that I want to do. Like, I look up to your old man because, like, that's the ideal dad, dude. You ain't worried about where money's going to come from. There's love first. Anything else is secondary.
Yes.
That's fucking so dope.
You know, I wish he was
So,
still here with us, to be honest with you. He sounds like the kind of guy I'd love to hang out with, you know.
oh my God, he
like,
would have so much fun. He'd have so much fun.
Dude, I asked him about all the advice. I'm like, fucking but we got so yes, right? Like we didn't get that, but now we get to see like the woman that Shannon's become because of that shit, right? How
Yeah.
nice she is because of that shit. The people that she's touched because of that shit. Like that, like he might not be here, but the legacy is still there. And just and I'm telling you, Nate, you've never been in her presence before. Shannon used to show up. I used to like get giddy because she got the same energy, man. It's just the same like positive vibe. You never even knew anything was wrong. It was just a positive vibe fucking all the time. And I think we would run into each other like twice at the fucking game because just our characters were different and shit. And it didn't matter because like, you know, when someone's somewhere and they're like, oh, no fucking way. And you might not talk to them a lot, but you feel better because of that person's there. Like it makes your experience better. That was fucking Shannon all the time, man. That was
I would
Shannon all the
hunt you
time.
down. Like later on, like I would hunt you down and be like, where's Judge?
I had one experience with Shannon I still remember, and I still feel like a dick over it. I was playing an NPC bad guy,
This is
and
my
I'm
favorite
stalking-
moment of any LARP ever.
and I'm stalking around the woods. And of course, I'm trying to find good actors, right? Because, like, look, we know sometimes you run into some fucking duds. I catch fucking Shannon outside, and I grab her. Now, she grabs my hand because I have my hand like on her throat, right? While I'm dragging her, everyone thinks I'm dragging her by the throat, but she's got my arm. So like she's carrying on. Dude, the screams that came, I was like, I don't know if I could keep doing this. Like it was, dude, it was blood curdling. It was the dope. I got top 3 memories. I think in terms of raw acting, that is fucking number 1, dude. It was so fucking dope that if I didn't know her, I'd be like, she's not acting. But I knew hunting around, I'm like, I know who I'm looking for. And when I saw her, it was like a beeline. I'm like, I don't even care. The rest of you motherfuckers don't even, like, you don't even exist. I know I want to interact with that person. And it paid off because the screams, like she was saying, help me. And no one even fucking came. Like it was, and they were standing by the Oscliffe building. They were close. They were right fucking there. And she's going, why isn't anyone helping? Fucking screaming. I'm literally walking. I'm running. I'm walking. I got her. And no one did shit. And eventually, I let you go, right?
You let me go. But yeah, so like I was like climbed on top of a building. Judge came over. He's like, you ready for this? And like, I'm like, fuck yeah. So that happens. Like eventually, like I'm laying on the ground. My character's like bloody, like limbs broken, like a bite taken out of me. And I'm like bawling on the ground, like crying at these people who are like, you know, big, tough, you know, crazy,
and they just,
you know, Viking me. And they just stood there. And I'm like, why aren't you guys helping me? And Judge is like standing over me. And I'm like, guys, like, help me. And like, yeah, like I made one guy cry, Judge, after that. Like, it was so good.
I think they were so stunned because it had to be one of those moments where I don't think that people, I think they thought it was so good. I don't think they knew what to do because it didn't look like LARP acting. Like it looked like someone has this person and he's dragging her away by her fucking throat and we're not doing anything. Like, I think it was general fucking stun. But after, are you serious? Like someone got like all worked up and shit because they just let it happen?
Like after you left and they came over to me and they're crying as they're like healing me.
God.
Like,
that's so fucking money.
It was so good.
Hey, look, can you guys help me out here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I'm the only one. I'm looking at the chat. Everybody else in the chat's been at KR. You guys are at KR. I'm sitting here still trying to work out the basic premise of LARPing. Okay, so I get the idea. It's like a role play game, but it's not online. Whether it be like Skyrim or
it's people
or whatever.
It's foam weapons. It's spell packets for magic. It's all theater of the mind stuff. It's all theater of the mind stuff.
How are you coming up with all of this in your head, or is there some sort of like script laid out, or is there like
no
how the weekend goes? Or...
Improv.
It's all improv. There's an ongoing weekend like plot. There's also some subplots going on. You are free to get involved in any of them or fucking none of them.
So it like bleeds on every week.
Yeah.
It's not like you just show up and it's a new scenario. It's like
it could be a new like monster, like a big bad for
monster
the
of the week. Yeah.
Yeah, but but no one, like, the actors didn't fucking care about that. We cared what the role playing was going to be like. We cared, what so and so was going to do because, blah blah blah. Like, that's what we were concerned about. Yes, there were people who just want to be themselves with weapons, and they were always out of game and are constantly making fucking stupid jokes and shit. And we would just kind of like gravitate away because we went to act. Like, that's why I went. I went to go have a good time, and I was made a better actor because of people like Shannon, because of people, but like the people I was like, I want to go gravitate to that group, or I want that group to come visit me because I know it's going to be awesome. Those are like the best memories. Unfortunately, every generation there's that 80-20, 70-30, right? Where the 30% of the people, when they get fucking hurt, or like, combat role playing is now dead. Not a lot of people do it, right?
Yes,
so if you get something that's supposed
play.
to, if you get hit by something, let's just say you got 70 fucking hit points, right? And you get hit with something that's 60, people just keep fighting like they're not fucking tired. Like, they don't roll around, they don't do anything. As a matter of fact, Shannon and I used to, you get hit and your acting was so good about getting hit, people would call a hold and they'd be like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, motherfucker, it's a role-playing game. Unless I'm calling it, fucking keep going. But
it's like, unless I'm saying like, pull your swings, then I'm fine.
Yeah.
Like,
but and for people like us, it was always like, how can we outdo the acting of the other person? I never outdid shit. That fucking screaming thing, I was like, never, she wins. Like, I'm never gonna fucking do better than that. But every time you would see people like that, you would get excited to be in their scenario, because it always became like not a one-up, like being an asshole, but it was like, oh, I know this is going to be good. Like, I got to come with my A game for this shit. And now I just stay away from large groups. Like, I'm still up in that little area on the hill. I made my own kind of like horror attraction. I had a really cool thing that happened this weekend, but unfortunately, there's not that group that, that when they enter a room, the role playing will start. It's just, they come in and people just kind of, but it's still great. I have a good time. But I made some really, 3 people in my wedding party were from Night Realms. I've known Shannon since Shannon was a teen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
I was 18 when I met you.
Yeah.
I turned 33 in May, Judge.
Oh my God.
A quick little fun story. So one time Judge was playing a vampire, and I was like, this was like an alternate event kind of deal. So here I am, just all blue, like craziness. And Judge is playing a vampire, and he comes over, and I'm like sitting there doing something, and I just hear him sniff me like up my shoulder, up my face, like this far away. I'm like, oh my God.
I know I could do it. And wait, hold on. Didn't you come up and we released you? Oh, wait.
No, that was a different character. That was before the ultimate. But yeah, that was fun.
Oh my God, dude. Because I knew, like, there's people that even as an NPC, you would go out and that you can interact with them a certain way because they love to interact back. And before that, it wasn't asking if you can. You just knew those people. The other people you didn't do it to, until they were like, oh shit, like, I like stuff like that. But it was great, dude. If I ever came out as anything, like I said, I made sure to find a couple people because I knew it would make my experience better instead of just fucking and fucking hit the ground.
So you've got a whole thing up on the hill where you've got all the trees and your hut and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
How big is the playing field? Like, if you've got your own section.
James has acres, dude. There's acres.
Boy Scout camp.
So how many people are going out and doing this?
So
depends on the game.
A good event now at KR is like 200 people. It used to be a little bit more. There was and I'm even going to mention the name. I like Steve Meyer's my dude. Fucking love that dude. The other guy who runs the other zombie LARP, don't like him. Don't like his fucking attitude. And there's a lot of like overage guys messing with underage girls at that game. But like, they used to pull 400 or 500 people because zombie apocalypse thing was really big. So everybody used to show up to that shit. But what, Shannon?
I used to play. I love that game.
Yeah.
It was once in a while I would go. But there was one October event that people came from all the other games because they're like a multi-state. There were 900 people on that fucking lot. Like, it's not that, like, they had like huge like tent areas, like shanty towns to like house all these people. there was also like they had porta-johns. By Sunday, you couldn't sit down on the seats
Oh my
because of
God.
how high it was.
Yeah.
Like it was bad, but it was a lot of fun. But oh my God.
Steve told me for that one, they had the back lot and that big field down the hill, that was filled too.
That
was all park lot
cool.
space. Steve just did this thing at a fucking a jail, dude, a defunct jail. He fucking rented the place out and did. I mean, this is going back a little bit, but it was like an old jail that they signed a waiver to. They rented it for the weekend. They had something inside an old prison.
Oh my
But
goodness, that
Steve,
sounds
I'll go
awesome.
to anything. Steve Meyer, like I'll go to anything that dude has always been one of them dudes that's been awesome. He's also a dad. He's got fucking crazy stories too about his situation. Yeah, man. But a lot of the people that I've connected with over this one piece of fandom, I've kept for a long fucking time, man. I've kept for a long time because you kind of build that. And then afterwards, you see the person after only seeing them as a character, and they're like, "Oh my God, you were so good! Oh my God, you were so good!" And it turns into like just a cool way to connect with people, man. It's fucking awesome. It's awesome.
I feel
That's
like
why
I missed
still
out
go.
on being a nerd, man.
For that. Yeah, dude. This is 24 years I'm going.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, man. It's
Like
fucking,
my
it's great.
parents are like secret nerds, I would say. Like their nerdness didn't really come out until I got a little bit older. Like when I started doing like conventions and cosplay, I'm like, Mom, I don't know how to sew. Can you help me? So she helped me sew like all of my cosplays, all of my LARP stuff, everything. My dad didn't really understand it at first until he went to the con. And
Yeah.
he was the guy there with the camera talking to all the people, being like, how long did it take you to make this? And like, this is really cool. What's this from? I think that they enjoyed it like probably more than me, honestly,
Yeah.
at points. I asked them to cosplay with me one time. And I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the anime Naruto,
Yeah.
but there are three characters. There's Jiraiya, Orochimaru, and Tsunade, like the Sanin, they're called. My dad dressed up as Jiraiya, and we had like a pimp hat for him and a pimp cane to do like a parody thing. Oh
Yeah.
my God. He became like the most
He owned
popular.
that moment, didn't he? Yeah.
Oh.
I was gonna say he ate that shit up.
Yeah, all the pictures he was in, and just like being like, oh my, he had so much fun. Like people would be like, Jiraiya, Jiraiya. My dad would just be walking, I'm like, Dad, they're talking to you. And he's like, what?
My son for about 4 years was convinced that I knew the real Pearl from Steven Universe because Shannon does a fucking dead-on Pearl that is like, dude. I showed Hunter. He goes, "Wait a minute, this is." He was like 3 or 4. He's like, "Dad, this is real." I'm like, "Yeah, I know her, man." I was like, "Yeah, that's how I got the pictures." And he goes, "Oh my God, oh my God!" Like he was freaking out. And then afterwards, he had a painting of Pearl commissioned because he saw Shannon. He's like, "My dad knows her." Dude, it was fucking coolest shit in the world, man. It was coolest shit in the world. He still remembers that shit.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, so the reason that I have Squirtle for my dad's tattoo, so when Pokemon became a big thing here in the US, it was like 1998. I was like 7 years old. I became obsessed, and I am still obsessed to this day. I love Pokemon. I have a bunch of Pokemon stuff up there that you can't see. But my parents got me the first original 151 Pokemon poster, and that was in my bedroom as a child. They got me a bunch of Pokemon books. I had marbles. I had a Pokedex, everything.
That's what we were talking about. You let your kid, man. You feed that, yeah.
Yeah, they really did. I still own that stuff. It's at my mom's house. But every time he'd walk by my bedroom, I'm like, Dad, it's time for your Pokemon lesson. So he would come in, he would sit on my bed, and he would let me talk at him forever about Pokemon.
God.
So that's like, so initially my nickname was Worm because I was an outside kid. I'd always be playing in the dirt, playing with worms, becoming friends with insects and bugs.
Yeah.
So I became Worm or Wormy, which my dad had a million like just nicknames for me and everyone. Then I became Squirtle, and then became Squirt or Squirtle Turtle or Turtle, and
it's just different variations.
Different variations. So yeah, he let me talk at him forever about Pokemon. I'd make him do like gym battles with me. We had like this Pokemon game where it was like you had little figurines that you'd put on this like battlefield, and then you
the battlefield. Yeah, I remember that. Yep.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, he'd play with that with me all the time, and he would like make the noises of the Pokemon, and he'd be all into it and all about it. It was so fun. But yeah, that made like a huge impact. You know, like I could be who I wanted and needed to be. And my parents always have supported that, and that's always been super great. And I want to give that, you know, to everyone else. Be like, you can be exactly who you are with me. Like no judgment at all.
Yeah.
So I
yeah.
try to keep that up.
I'm the same with everybody. It's like, I don't care who you are, just be who you are, and I'll love you for who you are.
Yeah.
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 And I think I'm not going to put words in your mouth, Shannon, but I think you can relate with me on this here, as is that other people will say that to me. And I'm like, I don't know, I can't do that. I'm ADHD. I mask. So it depends on the group as to how I behave and how I carry myself and that sort of thing. But then I had a moment last weekend, like you've had for the last hour, really, where I had a couple of guys just come out of the woodwork and go, "Hey, man, I just got to let you know, like, you are awesome as you are. You got to stop doubting yourself and like just embrace who you are." And I'm like, "Yeah, but you don't know me, because again, that mask is up." So
Yeah, like
I think it's just important to have people like yourself where you're just
Yeah.
like, "Hey, I don't care who you are, just
Who
be
you
you."
know are legit about it. When they
Mm.
say it, they mean it. And you can kind of tell the ones who say it and mean it, and the ones that are very supportive and they're trying to be supportive, but you know that you can't. Shannon's not one of them people, man. She's legit. If she was like, dude, I'm sorry, you're an alien today? Cool. Zopnar, let's go fucking hang out. Like, she genuinely don't fucking care.
pretty much, yeah. Like that people have come to me being like, oh, like, like I'm a little or whatever, like there are different styles of life. I'm just like, all right, cool. Like, how are you doing today? Or like friends who, transition between back and
Yeah.
forth between things. It's like, are you a boy or a girl today? Like, just
Yeah.
you go with the flow, kind of like my dad, just go with the flow with
Yeah.
everything.
I think me and Nate talked about that last time, where it's like, I'll call you whatever you want. Just be nice to people and wash your hands when you leave the fucking bathroom.
Exactly.
I don't fucking care.
1000%. It's like,
That's
wash
it, man.
your
I don't
hands
give a
and be
fuck.
nice to others. That's it.
That's it. Other than that, the fucking world's your oyster, and it doesn't fucking matter to me.
Yeah, it's like, you want to walk around in a fursuit, have at. Like, those things are fucking expensive and they look great. Like,
Yeah. And if you're walking around in a Judy Hopps one, call me later, because I might have a thing for that. And don't sniff
Like
around and pee. So Sarah's at a tricky tray. She's gonna be there till like 1 o'clock in the morning. It's like a big one. And now the dog's like sniffing the floor, and I'm like, don't you fucking dare. I will take you.
Hey, so Judge, while we're at this point of role
Yes.
play as well, I found out this week actually that Christine likes to role play in the bedroom. She does this thing called,
ooh.
the sexy librarian. So we
Nice.
both go to bed. She sits there and reads, and I sit there and just quietly. That's it. Just sit there quietly and let her read.
Dick. That's fucked up, man.
Then again, the shit that she's reading, man, like she's got book talk, right? And I'm seeing this stuff like flood through my stuff lately, and like she's reading porn. It's ridiculous, the stuff that's written in these books. Dude.
All that smut.
So smut. Sarah watches Bridgerton and gets into it the way we watch like Angela White in a porn. Like, that's her thing. Like, her thing is like period porn, not period porn, but like period like time porn. Yeah, that was gross. But that's her fucking thing, man. Like, and all those shows, Love is Blind and fucking Love is Deaf, or how many fucking versions, loves all that shit, man. She like eats that shit up. And I'm just like, I'm gonna go read. Like, I go in the room, I got a stack of comics, I read, and then afterwards we watch something together and shit. But yeah, man, fucking, she's really into that shit. Like, that's her our other thing. That's hers.
Yeah,
she's like, all right, I guess so. I mean,
Christine
I'm not gonna go
sent
get
me
an outfit.
screenshots once of like a Beauty and the Beast spin-off that she was reading.
Oh, Jesus.
And I was absolutely speechless. Like, it even made me flushed. I was like, oh my God, what are you reading, woman? You know?
Is he still in beast form at that point?
I believe so.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Like, it was interesting. Yeah, I'm like, okay, whatever smokes your tires, babe.
So one thing I've learned about myself throughout the years, which in high school was kind of weird, is I'm asexual. And
Right.
like in high school, like people are like, oh yeah, that's so sexy, would want to like bang them. I'm like, okay, when does like this stuff happen to me? Like, when do I start like feeling this way? Never happened. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, but it doesn't seem like you're like, oh, why not? You're just like, that's just not how I'm built, man.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
But again, you come from a place of acceptance. That's why you're not like, oh, like what was me? Why not me? Like that's just fucking who I am, man. Like
Like, it's
that's
just
just the
me.
way it's gonna be. Yeah.
That's how I've always
Which
been. Just like, I am me. Take me for as I am. If you don't like me, that's fine. I have people that love me. All that
which
matters.
which A, I don't know anybody who doesn't, and B, if I do, I will kill them because there's no reason not to. Like I'm telling you, man, like you, JJ, like there's people in my life that are so nice that you would think it's fake. And when you find out it's not, you're like, I will kick someone into a fucking shredder for this person. Like, and you're definitely one of those people.
Oh, thank you.
See, you ain't gotta be
So
violent. I'll take care of it.
perfect. And you and my best friend, Katie, like, you guys can be violent together. She would appreciate that.
I got it.
My
Katie, hit me up. We'll make a plan. It's called Protect
she
Shannon plan. Don't worry, we got it.
she's a Marine veteran.
Yes.
So
Oh,
when
awesome.
the
Well, thank you for your service.
when the whole thing happened with the ex, my most recent ex, she's like, "You want me to break his kneecaps? I'll break his kneecaps."
And it's great because there's some people that you say and you're like, you're just being nice, and there's other people you're like, please don't, because you know that they will. It's like, no, it's fine, but no.
Yeah, like,
Dude,
Katie,
this was
no.
dude, this was fucking awesome. I mean, like we always talk about catching up anyway, and like what a cool way to do it. That's surrounded like such. I mean, like it's usually just like dick and fart jokes and like and like we try to drop a little science, man, but this was such like a really cool like emotional roller coaster of like you can have like the beauty of being raised properly, regardless of money, regardless of whatever, can is supposed to create this legacy of love, right? That fucking carries. And the thing that you said was his dad was not, right? So I remember there's a graphic where it was like a parent yelling at a kid, and then that kid becomes an adult and he's yelling at his kid, and then there's that one point where it just stops because that kid is wise enough to be like, no, I'm not going to do that. So the way that you said, like his old man was like, didn't carry over to him, and he was just like, no, I'm going to do it different. And to stop that cycle, if that's all you know, is fucking incredible, because a lot of people just do it because that's all they know. So the fact that now that stopped, and now there's this awesome like beautiful flight of you and like the people after you, it's just like it's fucking awesome, man. And we just appreciate the fuck out of you coming, because we need to remind people every once in a while that yeah, we complain about a lot of shit, but we also try to let them know that there's beauty out there. And I think this whole episode kind of revolved around that. And I can't appreciate that enough, man. Like I really fucking enjoyed this like a lot. And I'm glad that it's centered around you because you're such a fucking awesome person. And now we can see that that came from a family that was like, it doesn't matter what we have because we have each other. And I think that's the most important lesson here to learn.
Yeah. And know that you can break cycles. Like with my grandfather, my used to, instead of spanking, would use a belt for my dad and my uncles. My dad never ever spanked me. He never laid a hand on me ever, because he didn't want to do that to his kids. And I just want to round out with a few little small stories. So my grandparents used to do camping at a campground. And one time, as we're there, because we're in the middle of the woods, here comes a little black bear. So my grandmother and I are throwing marshmallows at it out the window of the camper. And then it's like wandering around checking out the campsite, and it goes across like this little bridge that my step grandfather had made and picks up their fake owl. They had like a regular fake owl. And my dad takes a poker that you would use to like make hot dogs over a fire and chase this motherfucker to get this goddamn owl back.
For the owl?
Yeah, like chased it through the woods until it dropped it, picked up and brought it back, and he like puts it in. He's like, that wasn't very smart, was it? And we're like, no.
He flew right into action though, man. You couldn't stop him.
Oh my God. And then, we'd always be like in the pool and outside. So every night, like 7 p.m., during the summer, this guy with one of those like motorized like things that flies through the air, like it looks like a parachute.
Yeah.
Dad would get so annoyed with this guy because it was so loud. One time he was flying over and my dad mooned him. Full on, just full ass mooned this guy.
Take that on your video, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Oh my
Um,
God.
Also, never. This is why you should never trust small children. I was like gonna be like biting my dad's thumb or something. He's like, "Don't bite hard." I'm like, "I won't bite hard," and then nearly like bit his entire fucking thumb off, which was one of his favorite stories. Um, he was very much like an animal lover. A lot. He really loved dogs. Um, then he actually proposed to my mom at like a local ice cream shop when they were together.
That's fucking adorable.
Yeah, they never got married. They were together for 30 years, never got married. They were engaged. They never felt really the need. Plus, like my mom at the time was on disability, and the way the US does their bullshit, they were to got married, she would have lost those like any kind of like monetary
Yeah.
benefits or
Yep.
anything. So yeah, so then I said about them meeting at the truck stop. Oh, and so my dad and his friend Mark, his best friend Mark, are the ones that used to drive cross country. And this is one of my favorite stories of my dad. They're in California. Mark and dad get into a like screaming match. They have a huge fight. Dad's like, "I'm not riding back with you." My dad
I
hitchhikes.
read this one.
Yeah, my dad hitchhikes from California all the way back to Pennsylvania, hitching rides with different truckers and other people, and it took him days, but he got the fuck back to Pennsylvania from California hitchhiking. And this was like in the 80s. This was like Golden State Killer era that he was doing this. And I'm like I also told this to my parents. I'm just like, "Dad, how'd you know like nothing with serial killers?" Also, when him and mom met, I'm like, "Dad, how did you know that she wasn't going to kill you?" Or, "Mom, how'd you know that he wasn't going to kill you?" Like serial killers were a huge thing. But yeah, I guess the first time that my mom took my dad back to where she grew up, he was just like, "Oh, this is how I die," basically, like in the middle of fucking nowhere. Let's see what else. What other?
He's like, "No, I'm sticking to my guns. I'm gonna fucking hitchhike back. Fuck you. I'm leaving." Like that.
Yeah,
That's fucking
pretty
crazy,
much.
man.
Oh, one of his other stories, which he probably like, "Don't tell these stories, Shannon," which is why I have to tell them. One time, he was out at a bar with his friend Mark. They got shwasted, like super shwasted. My dad was just kind of keeping to himself, but his friend Mark became belligerent. So the cops were called. Then the guys were like, "Oh, that guy came in with that guy," meaning like, "Oh, Gary came in with Mark." So the cops were like, "Okay, well, you're not doing anything. Like, get the fuck out of here." So my dad's like, "Okay, you don't have to tell me twice." And he starts like walking through the parking lot, stops at a car because he had to vomit. The cops see him like, "Oh, well, he's not leaving. Like, we're going to take him too." Middle of winter, my dad was like always ran very warm and he has a jacket on. So he's sitting in the jail cell, with, cuffs on in his jacket. And he's like, "Hey guys, can you like come help me like take this jacket off? Like I'm dying here." And the cops kind of just like blew him off.
Yeah, blew
So
him off,
my dad gets up and walks out.
Wait.
Just walks out.
With the fucking doors, he just left.
Just left.
Oh
He
my God! Wait,
still
what happened after that?
He went to
It was still handcuffed.
still handcuffed.
Oh my God!
He went to his brother's house, my uncle Billy, and they had a bolt cutter, so they bolt cutted him out of them, and then they used like a little like saw thing to get through the regular handcuffs. And yeah, my dad just walked out of the cop station.
And that was it. Like, wait. He didn't come looking for him. That was it. That was the end of the fucking story. Oh
yes,
my God!
They're just like, okay, I guess
cops, yeah, I mean, I guess they can't because then they look fucking totally inept. They're like, "Fuck it, just let him go." Like, so I picture your dad walking down. He's like, "Hey guys, what's going on?"
Yeah, still probably drunk, like walked out of the cop station.
See, but again, man, it's the positive energy and shit. Like something like that could only happen to like your old man or people like him. Where like I'm just gonna leave.
Yeah.
Fuck it. I'm just, Rob said to check the chat. There's a question for
Shannon. I'm looking at it. So yeah, Rob's asked, was there ever a time that you were upset or disappointed with your dad, but now you realize why he did it? And are you like, I'm still upset about it, or yep, I can see why?
So my dad and I,
thanks, man.
Yeah, thank you, Rob. My dad and I very alike. So like that we would butt heads all the time.
Yeah.
Like the amount of times that I'd argue with my dad and just, yeah, like every kid. My dad was very much hey, I've done a bunch of fuck ups. I don't want you to do the same fuck up. So here is my advice. Okay, you're not taking my advice. Why are you not taking my advice? Like, I've been there, done that. And I would get so frustrated with him, be like, Dad, I want to like make my own way. Like I want to like learn shit on my own. And now as an adult, I'm just like, I really should have listened to my dad a lot more. A lot more. It's like,
Yeah,
yes,
man, they're
the
just
way
trying
that
to
you would
let you
do
know. Yeah.
things.
But it's cool
So, yeah.
that he let you make your own way, though. He's like, hey, look, man, I try to tell you, fucking go for it, find out on your own and shit like that, instead of like continuously getting mad about it. That's pretty fucking cool too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
he
see,
would get
that's
frustrated,
something I
but
think that's important as well. Is I think, especially as dads, we do have to let our kids go off and do it on their own as well.
Yeah.
Like we could spout all the advice we want, but unless that like Shannon, unless she wants to take it on board, she's gonna go find her own way anyway. And
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, but
hindsight's
she's go-
2020, you know.
yeah, but like, but luckily our kids and her went loaded though. Like we went loaded with the advice. It's not like kids like, well, fuck my parents, I'm not gonna listen to anything they say, and then it gets worse. Like it's not like she went out there with no knowledge at all. Where
Yeah.
it's just like, wait a minute, like he was right, something's getting fucked up. I'm gonna take a couple steps back and I'm gonna look at the situation, as opposed to someone that's like, I'm not listening to my parents and gets in deep with other shit. So it's like, yes, she went her own way, but she also still had the knowledge of her dad and her family, which is monumental. Because then if you do fuck up, you're like, oh well, now I can just leave the situation. I don't have to kind of see where it goes, which is really fucking important.
Yeah, with the way that they raised me, like I had a good head on my shoulders from a young age. Just being like, okay, well, I know what I want to do, what I don't want to do, how like, and how I want to live my life.
Yeah.
Like, because growing up, my mom's always like, hey, just let you know, like there's alcohol and drug use in the family, that, like there's addiction like problems. So knowing that from a young age and seeing how it affected people in my family, that's where it's kind of like, I'm not interested in any of this like bullshit. Like I don't want to do that to my body, So
And
that was very
it's
much
quite funny actually, because like you're on the opposite spectrum of me as well. Like I mean, there's addiction in my family as well, and I saw it all the time growing up. And I think when you've got
And I
that
still
there, you
fucking
go,
fell into it.
you go one of either way. Like yourself, Shannon, where you go, I've got no interest, I'm not going down that way. Or you like Judge on myself, but you just go off the fucking rails and start destroying your life and go, oh shit, I've got to do something.
Oops. Yeah.
Whoopsie daisies.
So with my dad, so this was a story that my mom told me when I was older. And then my brother Gary was actually like, like I'm very thankful for your mom because I'm pretty sure she saved, dad's life. So my dad had like a major like addiction issues when he was younger. I'm pretty sure my dad also had like undiagnosed ADHD, and his thing was uppers. So like being the coast to coast driver back in the 80s, cocaine was like
Okay,
the main
absolutely,
thing.
yeah.
And then when they got together, he had been clean for a little while, but then relapsed. So when my mom was pregnant with me, he had come home in like a sweatshirt, and my mom's like, you run hot, you never fucking wear sweatshirts.
Yeah.
And she saw stuff on his arms. And she gave him an ultimatum. She's like, either you go and get help and get clean, or when this baby is born, I'm going to tell them that you are dead and you'll never see this child.
Yeah. Oh
So,
shit.
yeah, like that ultimatum saved my dad, because my dad's like, oh fuck, I have to like, get. So he went to rehab, and he had never relapsed after that. Like when we'd have 4th of July parties, he'd have like a beer or two. And yeah, like I freaking applaud him, because I don't think a lot of people could do that. From like,
no,
like
they can't. And he did that and became such a fucking dope dude, right? Like he didn't take it out on anybody. He wasn't what we call a dry drunk, or at least for me, because drinking was the problem, where you still act like a dick because you're not using. So you're complaining about that, but you're still acting the same way as if you were. Like he was like, no, like, all right, well, this is my stop then, and I'm gonna fucking be a dad, and I'm gonna be a dope dad. Like that's fucking crazy, man.
Yeah. Like I'm like your dad as well. Like when it comes to drugs, I love the uppers. Any stimulants, I'm all over it. I've had coke a handful of times,
It's
maybe
the
less than a
ADHD.
handful. But it is, absolutely. But I know for a fact that I can't get hooked into all of that because otherwise I will never be able to stop.
Yeah.
It'll be just a downward spiral for me. And so it's a case of like, yeah. So look, props to your dad, the fact that he was able to go, fuck,
Yeah.
here's where I'm at. This is staring me right in the face. I've got to do something about it. Because
Yeah.
to be honest, I don't think I'd have the guts or the willpower to do it. I applaud him, man.
Dude, a lot of people don't. A lot of people don't. Like, they don't get that moment where they change, or they say they do and end up fucking it up later. And now it's ruining more than just them. It's ruining future family. It's ruining relationships and shit. A lot of people don't do that. They wait
like
till
my mom basically just punched him in the face and was just like, get your shit together. And then like I became his world, as my mom said. Like he was, his little girl. Was
like
always there.
Either you can have a family, one that will care about you, or you can do this thing that's going to do nothing for you.
Yeah.
And like in that moment, he's like, no, it's all right. I want this one. It's like, holy shit, man. Like that's to stop anything like that is fucking nuts, especially a drug or alcohol. That's fucking damn, dude.
Yeah, and he really stepped up his game after that. Like my brother Gary lived like 2 hours away and lived with his mom. And after that, my dad would try to get him as much as humanly possible, like bring him up, like, have him, in my life. And around 2010 is around 2010, my brother Gary actually moved up and lived with us. And I'm really, really glad he did, because then he really got to like meet dad. Because like dad wasn't always the most present dad when he was a kid because of issues. But then as, he became, our dad, then Gary really got to like know him and bond with him. And he's just like, after dad passed away, he's like, like I don't have my best friend anymore. Like, because my brother Gary's a fucking carbon copy of him. Like the way he laughs, the way he looks, everything. And now he just had a little girl.
Hey, that's right. So you're holding the picture. That's fucking awesome.
So he has 2 stepkids now. His girlfriend is amazing. I love her to death. And now they have little Coralie. And oh my God, the genes run like heavy with like my dad's side of the family. She looks so much like my grandmother and so much like my brother. God. It's insane. She's gonna be 7 weeks old. She's in 6-month clothing already.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, she sounds like a lot like my son when he was born. He was a big boy too.
Yeah, she's big. She was like 22 inches long when she was born. She was like close to 9 pounds, and yeah, she just keeps growing.
Oh my God, that's a boulder, dude.
Yeah, and his girlfriend Kirsten is very tiny. She's like maybe 105 pounds, soaking wet. Like oh my goodness. Like hold on, let me.
And it must have been fucking an experience.
Yeah, like and she's such a cute baby. Oh my God, I spoil her just.
Dude, Aunt Shannon, I'm telling you, man, that's gonna be a problem. You're gonna be like, yeah, that's right, I'll take her for the day. Come back, never want to fucking go home and shit. That's the best part.
Like you're gonna be here with Auntie.
Yeah, that's right.
And then my best friend Katie 2 years ago had her little girl Erin. So I'm Auntie Annan. I'm Auntie Annan. And then Brendan's Uncle Noodle.
Oh my God.
Erin came up with the nickname for Brendan. No idea how she did it, but yeah, he's Uncle Noodle.
Yeah.
But now it sticks for like ever. Like that's just what it's gonna be. Yeah.
Yeah, but look, my son does that with his aunties as well. Like he's got for some reason he's called one Auntie Minty. The other one's Auntie Nugget. Uncle Ben is still Uncle Ben, I guess. But yeah. Hey Minty, hey Nugget, can you do some
my
Lego?
son?
Or... Yeah.
My mom was like, whatever he ends up calling me, he calls me. He said, all right. One day the kid came up with Oma. It's German for grandmother. We're not German. He was like 2.5. Don't know where the fuck it came from. Now she's Oma, and no one fucking knows how it got there. But she's like, that's it. That's what it's going to be.
Eli did that with his grandmother as well. We called her grandma originally, but then he started calling her Grammy. But what's really funny, and we've spoken about this before, Judge, is that he's got that slight American twang. So it's always Grammy.
He's watching a lot of American videos.
Yeah. Hey, Grammy.
Oh, that's so good.
Pajamas. Oh my god. Hey
Oh,
Dad, can you
she's-
pass me the hammer?
Hey, look, we're gonna have to wrap this one up. But Shannon, before we do wrap it up, do you have like a piece of advice or
I was
just
just gonna say that. I was gonna be like,
like
yo, like leave
whether it be
everyone with like
about
a nugget.
yeah, whether it be just
Anything.
about being a good person, how we can be better parents or whatever. Like, just do you have like
Yeah.
a little golden nugget to share with someone?
So just be there for your kids. It means more than you know. Like you always feel probably like you're, fucking up. But if you're there and you're showing them love, they know it. Um, and that will show, as you guys can see here.
Yeah.
And just be yourselves and try to be accepting of others. Like not everyone is coming from your same background. Like, people go through their own shit and just be kind. You don't know what they're going through. And like just, if they say that they, want to, be called a specific name or whatever, just do it. It
Yeah.
it costs $0 to be a kind person.
Yeah.
Like,
Like
don't be
literally.
a dick. Don't be
Yeah.
a dick.
That's how we ended last show. We ended last show with, I'll call you whatever you want. I'm going to fuck it up because I'm 43, but I'll get there. But ultimately, just don't be a dick. That's it. It's fucking rule number one, man. Just
There
don't
you
be a
go.
dick.
And
And everyone be,
beautiful. We don't need a safety brief this week.
that's it.
Just don't be a dick, people.
Don't be
That's
a
it.
dick.
All right.
Yeah, and just love each other.
That's
Yeah.
it. Be nice. Fucking
nice,
love
be
each
kind.
other. Be kind. That's it.
And if you ever want to pick someone up, leave them a note that's saying that you like their butt. Might actually work for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Hey,
And
Shannon.
yes.
yeah.
And
Shannon,
again, preventative care
Yes.
and
Oh my God.
screenings.
Yes, please.
check your nuts. Absolutely.
Yes. Fucking yeah, dude. It takes like yes, the fear of, but what if? Yeah, but what if early enough will save your fucking life, man. So
Exactly.
just go. Like there's nothing stopping you from like fucking head to toe, man. Fucking give it all because if it's early enough, shit can be done, and you can
Yes.
live a rest of your full life and continue that passion, that love and stuff like that, and you don't have to lose somebody too soon, and you got people who care about you. The last thing you want is to make them sad because you didn't check. So yes, please go check, man. Go do all that shit because we want you around.
That's it.
Exactly.
And guys, if you want to be kind to us here at the podcast, give us a rating, give us a review, hit that follow button, whether you're on Spotify or Apple, wherever you're listening, hit that follow button, hit the bell so you can get episodes as soon as they land. And follow us on socials at Not So Secret Dad's Business. It's on Facebook and Instagram. That way you can catch our stories. You'll know when we're coming on live.
Yeah.
I always put up a time beforehand in the stories when we're going live so you can join us here on YouTube. And with that, Shannon, thanks for joining
Shannon,
us,
thank
mate.
you
This has
so
been
much.
fun.
That was
Thank you for having me.
It's been a fucking roller coaster, an emotional roller coaster. It's been amazing.
When you got up and walked away, that's what I told her, but it was a roller coaster that I enjoy being on.
Yeah.
Right? Like it wasn't like a low point. Like for the low points that happen, they were not low points because like we're seeing the result of that, right? Yeah. Like we're seeing live every day to the minute, make sure you're passing on good stuff, treat your fucking kids the right way, and you can live with that person's legacy, and clearly it's living with other people too. So we appreciate it because now all the people that listen have heard all those stories. So maybe they're going to see something a little bit different tomorrow. Maybe we're going to be a little bit nicer. Maybe we're going to change something. And
I hope so.
Yeah. And I think that's probably the best way that we can end it.
That's it.
And for those on YouTube, here's a picture of my daddy and me as a baby. Look at that mustache from the early 90s.
Fucking handsome man.
Yes.
Handsome man.
And then
gotta have the mustache and the flannel, mate.
And then my daddy.
Oh, love that one.
Oh, this is fucking beautiful. All right, well, with that one, guys, we're out of here.
Peace.
Thank you again. This was super awesome. I love talking about my dad. I miss him a lot.
I'm so glad.